Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever airing of Two Chuds in the Basement. I'm Paul, Greek Chocolate Malusis. This is Doug Dawson, and we're here today to recap the 2015 NBA Draft, which just went down last Thursday. We're going to cover our winners, losers, biggest shocks, and a couple of question marks that maybe made us scratch our heads. Let's jump right into it, buddy. What do you think?
So I got this kid, Justice Winslow, out of Duke University, dropping all the way to 10. Not only was I left scratching my head saying, why hasn't somebody taken him, considering there was 2 or 3 teams that were in desperate need of a great wing player. And I can't say enough about this kid. You watch him, he's got championship pedigree, he plays hard on both ends of the court. He might be the best two-way player in that entire draft class. Everything you hear out of Duke about him is that he's a winner. He works hard. He doesn't get rattled. He's tough both physically and mentally. And this kid is built like a brick shithouse, man. The 6'6", 240. He's ready to play right now. Going to the NBA. Start to gear it up. He can score. He can pass the ball. He seems like he's ready to do whatever it takes to win. And I like the fact that he seems like he's an all-around great kid. So that's my first shocker of the night.
Well, I totally agree with you. Winslow's one of my shockers as well. It kind of reminds me of Paul Pierce when he fell in '98 to 10th overall. For some reason, whatever reason it is, he fell right into the laps of who else? The evil Miami Heat, Pat Riley. Someone tells me this guy had a couple street toughs go around to certain executives and just say, "You're going to pass on Winslow. He's going to fall to us." Slapped his rings on the table. I don't get it. I don't know how this guy falls to 10, but he's there, and if Wade sticks around, that's a great mentor to help groom him as he moves forward. One of my shocks, a little further down the board, the Boston Celtics. There was all this talk with their 2 first-round picks and all the assets they've accumulated over the next few years that they were going to move up and they were going to do some big splash. They keep their pick, and they end up drafting Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier out of Louisville, 6'2" guard, maybe 6'2", bit of a tweener, can't really shoot, not really a point guard. Great athlete, great in the open court, can defend, but when you've already got the 6'2" Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart, little water bug Isaiah Thomas in the backcourt, didn't really make a lot of sense. Not to mention the fact that Terry Rozier was projected to go at the end of the first round. So taking him at 16 to me was a giant reach. I didn't quite understand it. And now it looks like maybe Danny Ainge might have to package Marcus Smart or Avery Bradley in a future trade. So I'm sure they're not done, but I didn't quite understand that part.
I kind of agree with you. I think that it's just too many cooks in the kitchens. You got 4 point guards essentially, and none of them can really play shooting guard. It really leaves you with a small ball. They really had a need in the front court or even at the wing. So I'm kind of left scratching my head too. He wasn't one that popped up on my radar initially, but looking back, it doesn't make much sense that they would just draft another point guard to add to this bevy of point guards who all kind of have similar skill set. They don't, like Rozier, he's a decent defender, but he doesn't take good shots. None of them are really elite level passers or playmakers ready to command an NBA team. So I'm kind of left scratching my head too, thinking, why are you going to take another point guard when there is plenty of decent bigs left on the floor, guys who could at least bring you some toughness. Sam Decker was still on the board, the next pick, I believe, and you're just wondering what on earth is going on over there. Danny Ainge is usually pretty with it, but it seems like he missed on this one. He could have either drafted this guy later on with his 27th pick or 28th pick.
28th, I believe.
Yeah, the 28th pick. So he could have taken him down the road if he wanted. I mean, he probably would have been available. I'm kind of agreeing with you. My next shocker wasn't a huge one, but the Kings at 6, taking Willie Cauley-Stein out of Kentucky. I mean, you have DeMarcus Cousins there. I wonder how that... I'm not so much down on it, but I'm sort of scratching my head thinking they needed a point guard, and Emmanuel Mudiay was still on the board at the time. They don't really have a huge need at center. Willie Cauley-Stein will add some depth to their front court. He's a great defender, but I don't know if he necessarily fits that George Karl style. I mean, he can move up and down, so it might be a great fit if DeMarcus Cousins stays there over the offseason, but I was still wondering because he was projected to fall to about 10. So 6 is a little early. I didn't think it was terrible, but it's still... I was a little puzzled. I thought they really needed help at point guard, and they passed. So we'll see how it pans out.
That one surprised me too. You look at the board, and like you said, you got a prospect, Emmanuel Mudiay, a two-way prospect, offensively, athletically, defensively. There's a need there. I know they got Darren Collison, who's a nice player, but come on, guys. Going forward, you got a chance to draft possibly a point guard of the future. Not to mention there was some other guys on the board there. If you're just looking at pure talent, Justice Winslow even. I don't know how he fits in that team, but to me, Willie Cauley-Stein, and I'm a fan of his. I think defensively he's got a lot of upside. He could be a guy that could potentially be an All-NBA defender year in year after out down the road. But he's one-dimensional. He doesn't have a lot of offensive upside, and essentially he's playing the same position as DeMarcus Cousins. So, can you play him at center and have Cousins at the 4? Does this maybe mean that Cousins does get moved? I don't know. I was a little puzzled by it. We'll see how it turns out.
And with that tandem at the front court, does it spread the offense much? Does it clog the paint? Can Cousins be a consistent jump shooter? I mean, he has some skill there, but it's really not his bread and butter. He's really more of an interior player, and Willie Cauley-Stein is very limited offensively. Like, he's, essentially a DeMarcus Cousins, or a DeAndre Jordan. He pretty much plays very similar to DeAndre Jordan. He's not a great free throw shooter. He has a bit of an outside shot, but on the NBA level, is he going to be a consistent threat where he can pull bigs away from the net? If not, then you essentially have Cousins, Willie Cauley-Stein, and even Rudy Gay relies on getting into the paint. He's more of a slasher than he is a shooter. So you got 3 guys all wanting to go in the paint. And if I'm a team that has any decent interior defense, I'm just going to clog the paint and let you guys shoot. You didn't address your point guard need, and like I said, Collison's a decent player, but I don't think he's cutting it for a starting point guard in this NBA, especially in that Western Conference where it's really deep.
I agree. I think his best role is as a competent and quality backup, but